Alrighty, it is 1 minute after the hour, and the screen says live. I will check it out here on YouTube to confirm. What do we see? What do you hear? What do you hear? What do you say? On YouTube. That's it. We're in business. Good to be here. A little Wednesday night Sacktap action. All right, actually. It doesn't even feel like night. It's quite light out at 7 p.m. now, which I love. I truly that chunk of the year that's coming up from you know, by the time it warms up. Well, it didn't I don't think it cracked 80 until like mid-June last year, which was weird, but that swath of the year where the day is just it stretches and it's light out until 9 p.m. Glorious, glorious stuff. The summer fast approaching, and as you know, I am one of the boys of summer. I am also at Mike Montone on Twitter, at Gary_Moyler Moyler on Instagram. And what else? We do the little live stream here, YouTube at Mike's Golden Streams, or just search Sacktap Live, Mike Montone. I'm sure something will come up. Yeah, it's so everybody, and we'll talk about sort of current events in a second. I don't know. It's always very hard for me to get the actual pulse of what's going on because I work in an industry where you have to be on top of like news and information and stuff. So I've never had the option to not be informed. There really is a huge degree to which I wish I was not informed. There's some and we'll see it shortly. It looks like bliss to not being informed. Because the people who exist in that web where, like for me, I go to Twitter to stay on top of sort of whatever the global conversation. It kind of unfolds on Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram. So Twitter is where I do a lot of my finding of various things, and there are people who live in this sort of world where everything is the sky is always falling. The sky has literally been falling. Now, of course, if you're in certain parts of the world, yes, the sky is literally falling. But over here in the US, the sky is not falling. In most of the world, I would say the sky is not falling. But people are getting quite wound up, I think is the phrase. People who are very online are very wound up right now, and they jump immediately to some sort of I don't know what it is, but people who just comment online, there's always a need to establish some sort of expertise on this ever evolving set of issues, and you have no idea what it's going to be from week to week. Cuba now in the mix of things that people are arguing passionately about. Cuba, Venezuela couldn't hold anyone's attention for very long. I don't know if we're losing focus on the Strait of Hormuz. I don't know if that. I think that one people will be obsessed with for a while. I can't remember the last time I heard a goddamn peep about the Epstein files, and poor Nancy Guthrie. Nobody has been talking about Nancy Guthrie. You remember Nancy Guthrie, right? Savannah Guthrie's missing mother. That's right. She disappeared on February 1st. Um, nobody nobody has talked about this woman in. I mean, the New York Post has continued to cover it because it's the New York Post. They love shit like this. But when was the last time someone mentioned Nancy Guthrie to you in conversation? Hey, what do you hear the latest in the search for Nancy Guthrie? Like this is there's I mean, look, more than likely she's got just because of her age and her health issues, she has to be dead. Like I just can't imagine that she is alive at this point. But it's amazing that we have, there's just this collective national obsession over, let's be honest, it's sort of over anything that is even loosely related to Donald Trump. Donald Trump or Israel now in the mix, big time. Israel was always, when I was growing up, it sort of lingered in the news, but it wasn't like, again, nobody was speaking passionately about Israel or Palestine. Like there were no on either side, like walking around my high school. And I grew up in a pretty, it's North Jersey. Like this is one of the most Jewish areas in the country. I did not realize that the rest of the country, except for uh, the New York area, Los Angeles, and Miami. I didn't realize that that's where the Jews were, and that everywhere else they didn't really have them. I thought they were just kind of when like those schools of little tiny fish just swim around, massive great white sharks, and neither it's there here and here. Not to you got always got to be careful when you're making fucking comparisons. But like there was just no. It's just we were part of the same ecosystem. I did not realize that people had such views about this issue. Clearly, I had my head in the Middle Eastern sand. But there were no one was wearing a keffiyeh to my high school and protesting an occupation or anything like that. There was none of this shit. Like I forgot. I don't even know what the fuck we cared about. Like as a teenager, my biggest concerns were getting filleted and playing football and doing a little bit of vandalism. I wasn't I wasn't making short videos about like American oppression abroad to share with my friends. But of all of this stuff that people get so wound up and passionate about, we've just completely decided that the 84-year-old woman who was removed from her home in violent fashion, no one gives a shit anymore. Nobody cares. Nobody is talking about Nancy Guthrie. And apparently there's this article in the Post, and you never know with these things, could it be clickbaity, but this former NYPD officer says the sheriff out there just totally blew the investigation due to ego and incompetence. Which, I mean, I have no idea. These are the claims of Michael Gould, a founding member of the NYPD's K-9 unit. He says the guy, what's the sheriff's name? Chris Nanos, Pima County Sheriff Chris Nanos, thanks to a combination of ego, incompetence, and politics, has blown the investigation. He's made this whole case about himself, Gould says. Yeah. Um, I guess he's been kind of a cowboy, just holding these daily press conferences. He's got this guy. He's got the look of. Let me see if I can find a picture that's not from the post. Um, he's got this very like this just shock of. Here we go. Yeah, here he is. Like he looks like if I was going to cast a Netflix series about this, he looks like, and it's like the perfectly the crisp collar, the shock of just white hair, and he's got that desert tan. Like if we were casting a movie about a stubborn local sheriff who refused to play ball with like the FBI or something like that in an investigation around the missing mother of a celebrity, and it was a sort of like a high stakes race to find her. She's this 84-year-old woman. She's not going to survive long in captivity. She could be dead already. This is the guy that you would have play. Like he is like this guy is right out of Central Casting, and there is something I absolutely love about that when we accidentally just get it right. You see it happen a lot with like those teachers who seduce their students, and it's always like the perfect um, heartland bleached blonde, fucking probably has like an inner thigh tattoo, like just exactly what you would look for in that scenario. Again, I always say the kind of chick that you pick up at a Senor Frogs or a Carlos and Charlie's, little Jimmy Buffett's. But yeah, so this is the guy, and yep, nope, just no. We're going on 2 months now, and no one has seen hide nor hair of Nancy Guthrie, and no one seems to give a shit. Maybe is it possible that she was she was kidnapped by Israel? Maybe is that what the real conspiracy is? Did did fucking did BB had Nancy Guthrie kidnapped, and the war in Tehran is actually it's all a big smokescreen to hide the fact that Israel was behind the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie. I don't know. I hope I don't. I hope I don't get. If YouTube is using AI to scan this stuff and they're still aggressively going after conspiracy theorists, it might not be long for this channel. So YouTube, if you are listening, I just want you to know I'm being cheeky. I'm not actually accusing anyone of having started a war to cover up the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie. Anyway, how are we doing out there? Um, Today I want this. Yes, he does. You're absolutely right. He absolutely um he kind of reminds me of the guy in Happy Gilmore who keeps getting annoyed and like shaking his head on the golf course um at uh at uh at Happy or whoever's committing the infraction. Yeah. Um, but there's definitely that energy to him. Yeah, about like he comes by because he's retired. He's retired, so all he has to do is walk around all day, and his wife makes him walk. They probably have a very annoying little dog that his wife makes him walk. So it's time to just stroll up and down the block, and he sees every time you forget to bring your garbage cans in because you're running late for work, he's there to leave a citation on your door. Yeah, yeah, real piece of shit. Alex G. Yeah, I mean, but it's wild that, and this is sort of my point. Like, it's just nobody seems to care. Like, literally, grandma was left behind. It feels like grandma was left behind in the vestibule at the restaurant, and just everyone got home, realized that grandma was still probably she didn't get into either car. She's still sitting in the vestibule waiting for a ride, and just nobody gives a shit to go get her. Yeah, it's quite fascinating. Um, Hank Scorpio checking in with a hand job at Ron Jaworski's golf course. What a place to have your genitals manually stimulated. Philly Fathead Semper Fi, brother man, brother man, brother man, and white chocolate Chucky D. Oregon, is Oregon literally on fire? I know Nebraska is apparently on fire. Huge wildfires going on in Nebraska apparently. Um, but there are a few items of internet interest that I'd like to get to. I guess first, so this is we have we have a situation in Hoboken. Um, there was an incident. A couple was photographed at the Hoboken Beer Garden changing their kid's diaper on a communal table. I don't know if the beer garden thing is as big elsewhere as it is here. For some reason, in Jersey City and Hoboken, we have two competing beer gardens. I don't know if they're owned by the same people or what, but we have multiple beer gardens. I don't know that we need that many beer gardens. I guess I don't know if we have a large Dutch German population that requires it. But I mean, the beer gardens are quite large. I don't know how many people we're accommodating. But in any case, we have the Hoboken Beer Garden, and if you haven't been to a beer garden, you probably have like breweries near you where they have these communal tables, and what this has turned into is these are just places for parents to go and drink, and they bring their children, and they just sort of they set up shop and they make themselves at home, because you can't really bring your kids to a bar. But the brewery and the beer garden vibe, um it it's so, I guess, because there's food being served, it's not technically a bar, you're allowed to bring kids or whatever it is. It's uh terrible. I think a beer garden, if you could get there at night, when there are no kids around, kind of cool, because um again, not to go down a road that's get me in too much trouble, but you watch the World War II movies, and objectively, like if you watch Inglorious Bastards, it looked like those German officers were having the time of their lives, just kind of back and forth singing songs in uniform and stuff. So just to cosplay for an evening. um, uh, but it's not. I don't go to these places because there is nothing worse than, you want to have a drink with your friends, hurl around some profanity, scope out the ladies, um, you know, uh, having a bunch of toddlers running around. It takes some of the fun out of it. In any case, this post goes viral on this Hoboken Instagram site, and it's a picture of this couple, and they have they have the diaper, the open diapers sitting on top of a table that people will eat off of. They're gonna get soft pretzels and sausages and chicken and all other manner of fare that one might have at a proper Bavarian beer garden. And people got justifiably upset, and it's created this like war in the comments section and on Reddit, because what happened was, I think I have do I have the statement from the woman here? Yeah. One of the parents responsible for the Hoboken beer garden diaper has spoken up. And I mean, I'm looking at the picture here. Their faces are covered, so we can't really get a good look at them. When they were posted, for the sake of anonymity, they used poop emojis over their faces. But the original post says, trying to enjoy an afternoon at the beer garden. I get it. Include kids in community events. I draw the line when you choose to change your child's diaper at a reserved table that is not yours. Place the dirty diaper on the table and leave the table without wiping anything down. Also, I want to clarify that I love the beer garden and this isn't on them. We shouldn't have to police checked out parents about biohazards. I also know this is going to get so much hate from some parents. Thanks for confirming you like shit everywhere. My mind won't change. So an anonymous user then responds on Reddit, hey, so this was me and my family. My husband went to change our daughter's diaper in the men's room, and there was no changing table. And remember this line, and there was no changing table. Disappointing in and of itself. So he came and asked me to change it. I went to the women's restroom, and the changing table was hanging on by a thread. It was covered in a sticky goo. There was no pad on it, and it looked like it was going to fall off the wall. I didn't feel comfortable putting my baby on it. So this is, which by the way, this is a huge accusation to levy against a small business in a town like Hoboken, where you have a lot of. Hoboken is one of those places. It's got a little. It's like almost like Brooklyn, but without the ugly people, where you have a lot of corporate white women who really are into sort of social political causes, like have like changing stations in a bathroom are like a huge deal. Like, this is one of those things that if you're a business in Hoboken, and especially one that's supposed to cater to families, if you are not properly catering to said families, this is like just a cannonball direct hit, if this is true. So this accusation that this woman is making is massive. So I walked out and said, I'll just change her on my lap. My husband held her head and I had her body on me. I took off her diaper and realized it was completely dry. Definitely no poop and didn't see any pee. So I said we didn't even need to change it. But I was halfway through, so I finished. And when we got up, we wiped the table with a wet wipe to be safe. Disappointed in the Hoboken community by this one. Maybe if facilities were more family friendly, this wouldn't have been our last resort. Um, and it was downvoted at the time of this screenshotting. It had been downvoted 81 times. So again, like I said, the a couple things at issue here. One is, well, what the fuck? Like, it just, millennial parents have become just the biggest fucking assholes on the planet. Like, it really, there was, I realized that we weren't parented perfectly by the boomers. Like, if you're Gen Xer or, an elder millennial, there are certain things that our parents got right, and sometimes, and many, many things they didn't. And then, the, the next, the generation after that, the younger millennials and like Gen Z were fucked up in their own way. But this isn't millennials. I mean, millennials are parenting like fucking crazy people. Like, just, gluing their children to iPads and throwing these fucking birthday parties. I've been to one for it was my godson. He did one of the trampoline park birthday parties. And it's, the fact that as a millennial parent, you go to like, a dozen of those a month or whatever it is insane, because it's obviously it's all for the mother's Instagram account. And that it's shit like this where they in a town like Hoboken. Hoboken was, it was a party town. It was a town where you would go out to get drunk, maybe get laid, do some coke, eat some pizza, get into a fight, crash on your buddy's couch. Like, that was Hoboken. And then what happened is, the millennial generation that came of age through their 20s in Hoboken decided that they weren't ready to give up their urban lifestyle. They were going to settle down and become urban parents and raise their kids in Hoboken. So over a course of years, and really, it really hit the acceleration during during COVID. Hoboken just got taken over by Caucasians pushing strollers. You can't go for a run in Hoboken on a nice day, because the streets and sidewalks are just clogged with aloof Caucasians in quarter zips and athleisure attire, pushing strollers up and down every narrow sidewalk. So sort of an irritating bunch. And, of course, I do know some Hoboken. Just covering my ass in case any of my clients watch this. I'm not talking about you. But yeah, no, there is a certain sort of white millennial douche um, who parents in an entitled manner, and they're the ones who are bringing their kids to public drinking venues like beer gardens and breweries. And so that's what this woman, this couple, appears to be of that ilk. And in doing this act, this very weird public selfish act. And again, I've discussed this before. I told you there was time I was in the park and some woman just pulled out a fucking portable toilet and had her kid take a piss on the fucking lawn in plain sight of everybody. Like, just uh, you know, just this idea that the world revolves around you, that because you chose to have a child, the world revolves around you. This became a very this whole, families' rights. You fucking, we need to get back, I think, to a time when society did not aggressively cater to people pushing strollers. And I don't mean, if a mother is trying to get through a door and she's got the stroller and the groceries and stuff, you be a fucking gentleman, you hold the door. That's one thing. That's a proper society. What is not a proper society is when there's just an army of these fucking NPC white couples pushing strollers around the streets. And then they just dictate everything. And in this case, their own disgusting behavior led them to attempt to dictate that a local small business that a lot of people really like. People love this beer garden. They do make a great soft pretzel, and they were going to again torpedo this business's reputation for the fact that they were caught and exposed doing something disgusting at said business. So if you're keeping score at home, this very entitled couple, not only did they think that they could come in and take, what I just don't, it's not even like, it's very gross, yes, but it's also like, you're putting me in a position now where it's like, okay, well, someone's naked child is on that table over there. Now I don't have the leisure of just allowing my gaze to drift about the room, because I might accidentally, my eyes might fall upon someone's fucking 2-year-old's genitals. You had your child's genitals were out in a dining and drinking establishment. In an establishment where grown men were drinking, which we're finding out now that fucking pedos lurk at like every turn. And you said, yes, let me expose my child's genitals to everyone here. And then, when called out for all of this, you decided to blame the establishment and say that they don't have a changing table, and chide them to do better, even knowing full well what this meant, what it was going to do to them on the internet. Luckily, though, photographs of the changing tables were taken and posted. I'll show you here. So here it is. There it is, folded against the wall quite securely. Very good bathroom to do coke in, by the way. And here we go. Look at that. We have a changing table. And the statement from Beer Garden: we do have changing tables, and they are cleaned and maintained regularly by our staff. If anything in our restrooms or elsewhere ever needs attention, our team is happy to assist right away. Yeah. These fucking people. Patrick Bateman chiming in. today. People are people are too germophobic. It's weakness. For me, it's less the germs. To me, it's much more the naked kid. I don't this whole thing where people with kids have just decided that the world is their living room is what drives me nuts. Whether it's the iPad at a restaurant or a ball game, or taking the kids' clothes off naked somewhere. It's just the world does not need to revolve around the needs of families with small kids. Like, but it just doesn't. And look, there's a chance that in the next couple of years I could wind up having a small child. I shudder to think that I would behave in this manner, barring an emergency. I mean, if nothing else, run outside, take the kid outside for a minute, and change the kid out there. There's just uh, there's no good reason to take your kid's clothes off um, in a public venue. I understand the trunk of the car change. Like what I've seen, people that makes sense to me because that you've concealed, you're putting it in there, and you're doing your best. Someone would have to be a weirdo pervert to look while you're doing that. But yeah, Bateman, it did. It was I forget what it was. It was maybe a restaurant or something like that. It might have been in Australia, and people got very upset about it. But yeah, I don't understand why. Like, there are plenty of spaces designated for families with young kids, places where adults want to go and be adults. Like that, it's fine. It's fine to have separate places and separate things for each other, but yeah, we do. Limon pound cake too. We need Afro Man to shame them with beautiful melodies. But yeah, there is something about the millennial parent that that has just it created this sort of breed of 30 and 40 something white uber douche that is really just not. And they are. So this sort of takes us into the this other post on social media that I want to talk about, or this series of posts. If you're on Twitter, I follow. It's at Murray Hill Guy 1. He calls himself Murray Hill Guy. It's a Twitter account. He tweets a lot about like dating and single life in the city, and he's been embroiled in this ongoing argument about it is his assertion that being a bachelor is just much better than being a suburban father in your mid 30s. And I'm very curious, but because I've having sort of maintained, I'm in a now lengthy, happy relationship right now, but I maintained a bachelor life for a while. I dated a chick for 3 years, and then we broke up like a year before lockdown. So like my entry back into singledom, like I just started dating again when COVID shut everything down. So I had sort of a weird re-entry into the dating pool. And it was I mean, look, I'm not going to tell you that fun was not had. It was, and it's been recounted on this stream here ad nauseum in the past. I certainly got in a good bit of fun. But it I didn't I guess I did eventually get to experience like the sort of mid 30s urban bachelor existence after lockdown lifted, started, going out again, and all of it was during this period that like everyone I knew kind of completed their move out to the suburbs to do this suburban dad thing. So I saw a lot of people going off and doing that, and then um, I got to go from, like, again, the very weird world of dating and hooking up with chicks during a pandemic, which was just a very, again, moments of eroticism, hilarity, and tomfoolery, all wrapped into a 2 year period there. But yeah, this so I guess I've gotten kind of I got a taste of this mid 30s bachelor life that Murray Hill guy glamorizes, and it is there is a lot of fun to it. I'm going to say that there's quite a bit of fun to it. Just going out on, like, whether it's a random like Hinge or Bumble date on, like, a Thursday night, getting boozed up. I would always, in case in case you struck out, or if you weren't going to knock boots, as they say, that night. I would always make sure I had like a nice sandwich or something in the fridge waiting for me. So I got home, I could, you would enjoy the end of the evening either way, either with snatch or sandwich. Can't go wrong. And it, it's there's definitely a fun to it. And then when the world started opening back up, I started working at a gym, teaching group fitness, and people were having like house parties and stuff. There was a very aggressively social vibe going on, and it was a lot of fun. That is actually it was amidst to all of that I wound up meeting the woman with whom I currently spend my time. So there is certainly there's an idea that if you're doing that stuff after the age of 30, there's something wrong with you. That, like, I think because, as our generation, our parents got married very young, like early 20s. So I think a lot of millennials said, well, I'm gonna wait, I'm gonna get married and have kids in my later 20s, that was pushing it for a lot of people. But then you keep doing it into your 30s, and you realize, one, you don't do it the way you used to when you were a kid. Like, it's not like you're going out and blacking out. Like, I still go out and party down the shore, um, but I don't do it 3 or 4 days a week all summer the way I did when I was 26. That would be ridiculous for me to do as a 40-year-old. But it would also be ridiculous for me as a 40-year-old to just abandon the idea of fun altogether, which I think a lot of people, I think they think that if you don't abandon fun at the age of 30 or 25, or whatever this arbitrary number that they set in their head is, that if you don't do that, that you're like a non-serious person, or whatever. And these are the people who, again, they are the Hoboken stroller brigade. They are the ones who now call their town councilman to complain about the noise coming from the bars, when 10 years ago they were the ones making noise at those exact same bars. Um, it's not it's just a different way living life. And so he's Murray Hill guy has laid out his description of he says how do people in the suburbs genuinely look forward to Friday night on the couch, Saturday morning at Costco, and call that a weekend? Like, you really moved out of the city just to LARP as your parents at 34. And a lot of people got very upset about this. It's called loving your family. It's called this. It's called that. And it's like, yeah, I don't disagree with the idea that there is a sort of domestic bliss that comes from being out in the suburbs. But I will also say that having um, having sort of now gone out, because now, your friend has a birthday party. If they've moved out to the burbs, you're going to a birthday party in the suburbs, or if you go to their kids' party or whatever. When you go back to the suburbs in your mid 30s and you're living in sort of an urban area with a bit of a scene where people socialize and still have fun into their, I mean, you go out in Hoboken or in the city or whatever. There are people in their 50s that are out having drinks, getting dinner. Like, it's lively. Um, and you go out into the burbs and it even if you go to a bar in the suburbs, it's very like it's it's like a neutered version um of going out. Almost, there's this, like, you know I it's hard to put your finger on it, but you do, like, you look at you interact with the adults, and first of all, their conversations are all about, like, the pickup line at school, like the drop off line at school and shit like that. It's all about these, like, sort of dull, and I there are things I love about the suburbs. Very peaceful, relaxing places to go and just sit in silence, especially if you live the kind of place that I do. But um, it's it is lacking a certain um, spice or spark or just something. Like, there's just something is not there. It's so hard to put your finger on it, but there's a certain something in the air where you're like, and I know that there is on the flip side of this, there is a dark underbelly to the suburbs where there are, like, parents who are sneaking off to do a couple toots and fucking affairs and swinging and all sorts of shit like that. So it certainly exists, but I think it is sort of overwhelmed by this. You know, uh, you go and it's a bunch of guys in quarter zips with paunches and thinning hair. I mean, not that we do our best, right? You know what I'm saying, fellas? And they're just sort of like cucked by their wives. Their wives are like these loud, so their wives are the women who go and bully yoga instructors into sharing anti-government propaganda. And they're sort of like, hand the kid the iPad, go watch Miss Rachel while I sip an IPA. And Murray Hill guy lays out the a day in that life perfectly. Um, here's how he describes it. He's got a podcast. He's a very interesting guy. I don't agree with everything he always says. I think he does have a little bit of smarmy New York City douche in him, but again, if you've grown up in this area, they're part of the ecosystem. We have an ecosystem. but he describes the day, a day in the life of a mid-30s guy in the suburbs. Saturday edition, no kids. 7:30 a.m. wakes up before his alarm anyway. 8 a.m. walks the golden retriever. 8:30 chug a black coffee. 9:30 Costco run that somehow turns into $347. 12:30 eats samples like it's lunch. 2 p.m. quick nap that ruins the rest of the day. 4:30 stands in the backyard staring at nothing. 6 p.m. gets yelled at by his wife for something he definitely did wrong. 7:30 1.5 beers equals exhausted. 9:15 falls asleep mid-movie he picked. 2:30 a.m. wide awake for no reason, contemplating everything. Same script every weekend. And it does, there certainly is, I think, some truth to that. And again, people were furious with him. I have not personally lived this existence, but again, and this could be a complete caricature of what it is, but when I look at the sort of suburban dad world, even when I go to, like, my girlfriend owns a home at the shore, but she lives, it's a residential neighborhood at the shore. It's not like beachfront where it's just beach houses. So she lives amongst families and stuff. Not quite as bad there, because everyone who lives at the shore has like a little bit of party person in them. Like you wouldn't choose the Jersey Shore to live at if you didn't have a little bit of party person in you. But even amongst them, when I see the neighbors with the kids and stuff, it's almost like if you live in what I will call the true suburbs, like in New Jersey, that would be like Bergen, Morris County, Essex County, like up in the, North Jersey, 20 to 40-minute commute into New York City, like the proper suburbs where I grew up. It does seem like the millennial dad is living a sort of like cucked, lobotomized existence. I feel like almost like, I don't know if you've ever taken like melatonin or like Xanax or something like that, but the cloudy, foggy feeling you have after it wears off, where you're just like, you're there, but you're not there. Like the morning after you take melatonin or NyQuil to go to sleep, you slept, but like also like it's still in your system and you feel it just kind of like pulling you towards, all you want to do. You wake up that morning and you're like, I slept for 8 hours. I want to sleep for 8 more hours, but you have to go about your day. It's not like that. It's not that you're exhausted from doing things, tired. It's just this sort of, you're not all there. And there is something to that. You see it in a lot of different microcosms of sort of the suburban life. Like if you ever go to a gym in the suburbs versus a gym in an urban area, you see it. And I think a lot of it is it's homogeneity and lack of youth. It's so everyone sort of defaults to, women can get away with suburban frump. There's not, if fathers kind of let themselves get the excuse, because it's, hey, you got the kids, what I mean? You can't work out, got the kids, right? Because you can't buy a fucking kettlebell. But yeah, and what you see happen is these are the people. And I would assume it's the same way with bachelorette parties. But when you go to a bachelor party with guys like this, they are always the ones who want to fucking pack a nostril and go fucking crazy. Like they're the ones who who might accident, like if a hooker gets murdered, if you're a detective investigating the murder of a hooker and a bachelor party is suspected of being involved, the first people you should be interviewing are the married guys. The fuck, because if you're not married, the bachelor party, yeah, it's fun. We're gonna party, but you party whenever the hell you want. You're going out, next weekend too. Fucking, there'll be more chicks. We don't have to kill the hookers. The suburban dad is just going pedal to the fucking floor. But yeah. Any do we have the suburban dad who gets on TRT? Is that sweeping suburbia at the moment? I know in like in more urban circles certainly where they're like 50-year-old dudes doing CrossFit, but is that it's hitting the burbs? Interesting cheese. Um yeah, those are the dads I feel like who wind up those are the murder suiciding dads. You know who is the that that guy out in Colorado who like killed his wife and daughters and like put them in like the fucking oil barrels or some shit. He's doing life in prison. But he was having an affair with um he was having an I'm not laughing about this, I'm laughing about a comment. uh he was having an affair with a woman from the gym, and so he murdered his wife and kids, and I feel like that is like one of like if that is one of the potential outcomes, like every once in a while that just happens because I think it fucks up your like if you're not careful, like if you don't have like a good masculine foundation, um, where you're gonna be like the fucking alpha dick swinging dad in the neighborhood, um, then I think you're just setting yourself up for this like midlife crisis where suburban life has just numbed you to unknown degrees. Um, but I do love this this fucking I'm sorry, I'm trying to scroll back up. Jeez, this dudes get on TRT and start an F-45 trial class and make a fool out of themselves. That's so funny. I coach at an F-45, um, and again I do it in an urban area, where the clientele tends more towards people who are already reasonably fit. But I've certainly seen um, examples of what you're talking. If not TRT, then certainly during the pre-workout craze that swept the nation, during I feel like in COVID, everyone got really into pre-workout. Everyone was just jacking themselves up with pre-workout and then taking themselves back down with booze. Um, Derek WT, don't have kids if you don't want to spend 5 years of weekends at trampoline parks eating Tony's pizza and making small talk with uninteresting parents. Yeah, that was the thing. Like when I went to my godson's birthday, it's like, oh yeah, cool for me. This is a one off. I get to spend time with, my godson and his brothers and my one of my one of my closest friends from college and his wife, and it was down in Florida, and there was pizza thrown into the mix, so that was, and it was an hour out of my life, and then we went back to the house and had like a real dinner and smoked cigars like men. But the the other fathers there were such, again, there's just there, I don't, limp wristed probably isn't the word, but there's just something missing. uh they feel like, yep, just like a piece of the brain has been removed. And then, like, again, they go to a bachelor party and they put it back in, and it's like when you don't drink or smoke weed for, like, 6 weeks or something like that, because you're doing like a sober October or whatever, and then you do it and all of a sudden you're rocked and you're like, whoa. Imagine that, but raising, getting married, moving to the suburbs, raising a child to the age of, 6 or whatever, and then all of a sudden your roommate from college is getting married, and you go on the bachelor party, and you're out in fucking at a hotel pool in Sedona trying to fucking eat a divorced woman's pussy. It's back in there, baby. Let's go. Um, Cheese doing a little F45. Good for you. Enjoy. I highly recommend F45. If you don't want to do one-on-one personal training, like if you're looking for something other than that, and you don't want to like worry about like writing workouts, what am I doing, the F45 is great because you can just go in, and it's either a resistance day, a cardio day, or a combination day. And it's just the thinking work is done for you. You're in and out in 45 minutes. And it's got a nice community vibe. Yeah, that's the other thing I do too. Geez, use it to add to your routine. I obviously I do my own lifting program, but I do F45 for cardio, and it's great. But yeah, I really found um I have there are, and yes, there are some the group fitness world is certainly not short on attractive women. Um, in fact, I will tell you, if you are in your mid 30s or whatever, and you're living like an urban existence, and you're seeing all of your friends kind of get married, have kids, move out to the suburbs, don't feel pressure. Find a community, whether it's an F45, a CrossFit, or whatever you're into, really. There are like debate clubs and shit, book clubs. You just have to find a community. Because it's not like, most people, move in this area, they move to Hoboken or the city in their 20s, and all their college friends and high school friends are kind of around. Um, and you don't realize that it's all sort of ebbing away, because it happens so gradually and slowly, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, all my friends are, I'm noticing now I have to travel out to the fucking suburbs to visit my friends, or it's like pulling teeth to get them to come here. They have kids now, they can't stay out past it, whatever. You just got to find a tribe around where you live. Yeah. Today I want this. Do do what I do. Go. Do your thing that you like to do alone. Like, I like to lift weights by myself. But very funny, Mike Loads. Um, but find, like, going and doing cardio with a group is great. Or find like a fucking run club or something like that. Just um don't be a creep. Like, don't just show up and try to bang everybody. Just go and make friends. And it'll all just kind of fall together around you. No, Cheese, I'm not doing peak 500. I'm actually going to be I will be luxuriating on an island on Saturday, as long as you know uh, these TSA lines aren't too bad. Yes, of course, Turk, or just hit up your local neighborhood glory hole. Um, but I do, I had one thing I really wanted to get to, and it's this video that's been going around because we were talking about the news at the top of the show. We were discussing how um, people are, I think, informing themselves into a panic. Everyone is obsessed with being informed. You have to be informed. No one can agree where they should be informed from, but we have to be informed. So this, I guess this was Fox News. It's spring break in America right now, and that means that beaches across the South and the Caribbean, and warm locales all over the place, college co-eds are flocking to have a good time, fun in the sun. They want to have a few drinks. They want to do some drugs. They want to get laid. The girls are literally going wild. Um, are these I are these chicks of age? Like, this is the problem. I guess they are. They look like they're probably in their like their early 20s, maybe. College chicks look so fucking young now. They look like children. Holy shit. Um, but they're out having a good time. As I did when I was in college, as I hope everyone else did when they were in college. But this clip has been going around of college kids on spring break attempting to answer topical questions, and you wouldn't believe some of the answers these kids. Well, let's just check it out.
What college you guys go to?
UTC.
Okay, they are. Thank God those girls are in college, because now I feel much better about thinking about them in the manner that I do. And how about her?
FAU.
Sacred Heart University.
Ohio State.
Spring break 2026. What is the game plan?
Drinking.
By the way, I love the fact that they got this. I don't know if this is a Fox News, but this might just be some guy who was doing it for his page. But he's got like the just cheap fuck it, like gay bar techno going in the background. That was indicative of this chick's rocking a full-on Christina Aguilera early 2000s look. It's interesting. Um, Maybe as a result of the sort of retroing of everything, kids are going to start behaving the way they did in the 90s and 2000s. Boy, wouldn't that be refreshing? Just doing fucking hitting the funnel, the old beer bong. Gotta love it. What's she have to say?
Blackout with my rock out.
If my mom is watching, I'm sorry, Mom, but I've been getting pretty drunk almost every day.
Hook up with some girls, get with as many girls as we can, and not come back with an STD.
Wake out with one person each night. That's it.
So how many guys have you made out with this week?
I've been here for about 10 days. So 10.
What were their names?
I don't remember.
Name.
And that's supposed to be that is spring break to a T. What these kids have all described, right? We're here. We're gonna get some sun. We're going to get blackout drunk. She's got. You see, this chick has. She has all the arm things. So those usually get you access to some sort of all-you-can-drink event. You have the daytime party and the nighttime party. We talked about this, I think, last week on the stream. It's spring break season. At Christmas we talk a lot about Christmas. At spring break we talk a lot about spring break. Yeah, so she's been having a great time. A lot of making out. Yeah, there is a lot of. If you go on spring break and you manage to come home without cold sores, you dodged every bullet. because literally all you're doing is just drinking out of different cups and sucking face all night.
One.
Name me one. Name me one.
What is the craziest thing you've seen at spring break?
Not that crazy. I've seen people do like cocaine off of boobs. I saw a girl like black out on the street. That was pretty exciting. Sunday mimosa drag races.
You see that guy take his pants off in the middle of the club?
There's a lot of famous people down here.
Have you seen Johnny Belisario?
What?
Never mind.
Okay.
What is the wildest thing you?
I guess, is this Johnny Belisario? Who is Johnny Belisario? Is that a name I'm supposed to know? Who is Johnny Belisario? Let me... Johnny Belisario. I get. Oh, he is. He is the interviewer here. He is Johnny Belisario. Oh, there he is. Looks like he's posing with a food influencer that I follow. All right, Johnny. Johnny's doing a good. As a man on the street myself, I appreciate Johnny's game.
Done down here?
Got with somebody the first night that I came down here.
Pole dancing,
2 days ago.
stripping naked, getting in the water. You gotta say. What'd you do? You went something crazy. On the strip, honestly. All right, on the strip.
No, we had this.
Okay, that wasn't public, but yeah, okay, that's
fun. That's fun.
What issue? facing
Oh,
America
they were
is
chucking
the-
around the old Nerf Turbo Screamer. We had a thonged ass. We had a thonged ass, a flexed muscle, and a Nerf Turbo Screamer flying through the air. Just seriously. And I say this in the least ironic, most enthusiastic way possible. Thank God for these kids. Just thank fucking God that there remains this breed of college student who is still like, yeah, this is what we're doing. I'm not setting up a fucking tent city and play acting like I'm in fucking Hamas. I'm going to the beach. We're trying to clap some fucking cheeks here. We're going to hook up with people. We're not going to know their names. There's going to be drugs done off of breasts. Yes. More of this, please.
most important to you?
What bikini I'm gonna wear next?
Good girl.
Obesity is terrible.
Ice. Not personally. I'm legal.
Getting a tan on the beach. That's the most important thing in my life right now.
I'm thinking about Starbucks, to be honest. I'm thinking about Starbucks. What I'm gonna get for today?
The elevators don't work. You got 43 floors. The elevators don't work.
I could take this little glass of water, drop it in the magnets. That's the end of the elevator.
What have you heard that Donald Trump has been doing recently?
Gulf of America. That's the last thing I kept up with.
We're going to war with Iraq. That's been crazy.
What do you do in Colombia? You got Maduro out? Oh,
Yeah, they have no. This is, but again, this is spring break, probably senior year for most of them. That's usually spring break's usually a junior senior year activity because you kind of need a couple bucks to do it. So you either have to, you got to work a little work study job or get hustle some out of your parents. I think I know someone who sold his meal plan to finance spring break. He sold it back to the school and pocketed the cash. Yeah, this is what you're supposed to be doing, though. Like you should, if other than like we had the Iraq and the Afghanistan war when I was in college. Those were very big wars, so people knew those were going on because someone from everybody's high school was there. But other than that, like, we don't know a fucking thing about, like, whatever was going on, Lehman Brothers or what, I don't know. The biggest news event when I was in college was that some kid from my physics class had gotten busted in a predator sting. Not a Chris Hansen sting, unfortunately, just a run-of-the-mill predator sting. But that was the news. We didn't care about anything else. Keep going.
Trump, but that ain't done.
He's like trying to sue those people for making jokes about him.
600 times!
You must be happy.
I'm very happy.
The Ayatollah's dead.
I'm so what? Who? What? What is that?
Who the is Ayatollah?
I've never heard that word in my life.
Lewis, what's Ayatollah?
I haven't heard. I found out about Chuck Norris yesterday. That was more devastating to me.
He was a
You gotta love her, especially after. By the way, our rest in peace to Chuck Norris. All of these douchebags, Keith Olbermann at the head of the pack. They've been just shitting all over Chuck Norris's grave because he wasn't he's not Mark Ruffalo. He's not a Hollywood douche. He was a great man. In this house, Chuck Norris is a great man. Yeah. Good for them. They should know who the Ayatollah is. They should not give a shit about the Ayatollah.
supreme leader of Iran. He's dead? We killed him.
Oh, you did? You killed him?
Johnny.
Whoa! If you were in charge, how would you take...
I bet those chicks are a good time. They got a little spunk, little attitude. They can banter back and forth. Those are the kind of... I mean, how much... If you're watching this video and you do not want to be on a beach right now with your fucking boys just scaring up game, then you don't have a fucking pulse. If you didn't... I feel so bad for anyone who didn't go on spring break. Anyone who didn't get... If you've never had the experience of chasing ass in a seaside locale with a group of your best friends, you have truly missed out on life. Some people think having a child so you can ruin everybody's fun at a beer garden with piss-filled diapers on an eating surface, that's what they think the point of life is. I would argue that the greatest thing one can do with their life is chase ass on the beach. God bless these kids.
on Iran?
Yeah, all my girls and we would all start putting belts on them.
We get a bunch of girls in bikini, we make them run across the battlefield. All the guys are distracted. We all run in.
Look at him in his eyes, I guess. Flirt with him.
I'd blow him up. I don't know enough about it, but I would probably wipe it out.
Drop a bomb, baby. Bomb the out of him.
I would bomb the out of him.
What have you heard about Venezuela?
Venezuela? Nothing.
I'm not sure.
I barely know what'll be going on in like Tennessee where I'm from.
That they beat us in the World Baseball Classic?
Have you heard anything else?
No.
Nothing. I have heard nothing about Venezuela.
You know, honestly, I don't know and I don't care.
Where is Venezuela?
I will say the one thing that I do find concerning about this video is that the female body type for this generation does seem to be reverting back to that early 2000s, much more petite, sort of lacking muscle and curve that was so popular back then, which I thought we'd arrived at a very good spot where chicks were squatting and deadlifting and doing hip extensions and Bulgarians. And, everywhere you looked, there were just these nice, big, juicy, fat asses. Why? Let's not, I know Ozempic is very popular. Let's not be in a rush to undo that, folks. We had a good thing going. We do not want to see the Pog community go extinct. The Pogs may be the most valuable part of our ecosystem. We need the Pogs. Save the Pogs.
I don't know. I'm drunk. I don't know. Venezuela? Isn't that in Spain?
No.
Go easy on the tequila.
What do you want to tell Jesse Waters? You're on his show.
That's the guy who was eating the steak, remember? It was like in front of the vegan guy. Oh, Jesse Waters.
Do you know who I am?
I do not.
Here's Johnny.
Hi, Johnny.
Here's to drunk sluts. God bless him. God bless him. Philly Fathead. I just, of course, Paris Island instead of spring break, but certainly the Marine Corps affords you many opportunities to chase tail in beach locales. Nighttime Conqueror. It's not about being into again. And I mean, I've always said I find my preferred age range is probably like mid 30s to mid 40s. I feel like you get the best sort of combination let's just say skill and body. But look, we still want hot college sluts. That's again part of the American diaspora is the young drunk party slut, and of course her male counterpart, the drunk bro. So it's my concern. It's my concern because that generation, like the reason I was concerned 10 years ago about 13 years ago now, it's 2013, I think, when it really started to hit a fever pitch about wokeism on college campuses, was because I said it's not going to stay on campus. These kids are going to graduate and they're going to take this into their jobs in the media and law and in corporate America. And lo and behold, that's exactly what happened. So what I'm worried is that we've established the adults, the millennials and Gen X, and to a lesser extent, the older Gen Zers have established a society where nice big fat asses are quite en vogue. Everywhere you look, nice big fat ass walking down the street. It's something to be celebrated. It's something we all love. I wish to live in a society that celebrates the female form because it's a good form. We don't want to lose this. The tiny, and look, no disrespect to the spinners out there. Again, you all serve your purpose, but if I have to pick a world of spinners versus pogs, I want one in which pogs sort of rule the day. And I don't think that is a ridiculous ask. I don't, you don't like seeing down at the college level this reversion to a body type that was it's a less healthy body type too, as someone who's interested in health and fitness. The pog is certainly aspirational. But back in the 90s, it was like gay men in the fashion industry had determined what was en vogue, and that was detrimental to both the male libido and the female psyche. So again, I submit that the pog and the thick Latina have been a beautiful coming together of women's body positivity and the male propensity for lust. So I will ask the younger generation to work on that, but to keep up the fine work they're doing down there on spring break. Very, very proud of what I saw. I hope the funnel is still very much in use. There's nothing I loved more than funneling and keg stands. Loved a good keg stand. Was a big fan of the solo keg stand, the gargoyle. When you get up, you squat on the keg and you just feed it into your mouth. All good times. Gargoyle, gotta love it. All righty. So next week, I will be on vacay, so there will be no show next Wednesday. And then should be back at it the week after that. So have a lovely Easter, everybody, and I will catch you later. Twitter at Mike Montone, Instagram at Gary_Moyler, MOYLER, and of course Sacktap Live or at Mike's Golden Streams on YouTube. And adios, motherfuckers. Thank you, Hilly. Thank you for being here the whole time. God, have a good one, folks.